Popping, everybody. What's happening? Appreciate you guys pulling up. Man, trade deadline in the books. It is in the books. We done with. Raiders obviously made a big move, moved on from JAKOBI. I know a lot of us maybe aren't surprised about it, but look, we didn't acquire anybody. It was that one simple move they decided to make, and we're gonna chop it up about it. You know, obviously we got some draft capital. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at what our receiver room looks like now. You know, and how does that affect our offense moving forward? How does that affect the rest of our season moving forward with the offense and just kind of how it looks now that we know exactly who we're rocking with as weapons for Geno Smith? We're going to talk about that. There was also a press conference. So after the trade was done, Chip Kelly, he addressed the media. I believe it was his normal day. Typically on Tuesdays, the coordinators will address the media. So we got Chip Kelly to talk about it. And obviously, you know, the reporters, they pressed Chip Kelly for exactly what his take on just moving on from Jakobi Meyers and just kind of how does he think this is going to affect his offense moving forward. And I'll tell you right now, I think that some of his responses I'm just not a fan of. And I know that Chip Kelly is definitely under a microscope as it relates to just how he addresses the media, how he is as a player's coach in that locker room based off of his history. And I'll tell you right now, man, some of the responses that he threw out there, I'm just not a big fan of it. I just want to kind of break that down and just see kind of what you guys' reaction is to that. We're also going to take a look at just what the 2026 outlook looks like as it relates to our draft capital now. Because we got 2 picks for JAKOBI. We're going to take a look at that. But we got to remember, we also get some comp picks next year. And so, man, that's definitely going to be an interesting. It's going to be interesting to see just how SpyTek potentially navigates the draft based on what we saw last season. SpyTek did a very good job of navigating it. Now, it remains to be seen just how well he does with those draft picks, because obviously the draft picks that we got this year, very suspect to say the least. So even though we got 2 draft picks, the other question is, are we going to be able to do something with it? But we'll break down all the draft picks that we got. But also, there's some players that didn't get dealt. There's some players that we thought we were going to potentially move on from. Obviously, JPJ, Malcolm Kuhn, some of those guys were in just the social media world of a player that we could potentially move on from. But, man, they stayed put. And I'm going to definitely get you guys' reaction on that as well. So appreciate you guys tapping in with me. Again, I don't typically go live solo. You guys know I'm always in the Raider War Room with my guys. But every once in a while, when I got the time, when something like this happens, I definitely want to jump on here and kind of just get your guys' take on it, but also kind of give you my reaction to it as well. And this is a big day. Trade deadline in the books. Obviously, JAKOBI, we move on from him. We're going to talk about that in just a second. If you guys can, double tap that screen. I definitely appreciate it. Just hit that like button. But at the same time, if you want, hit that sub button as well. I do a sub-only chat just to show my appreciation to my subscribers. But I also drop some memberships. So if you guys want to support the channel, I definitely appreciate it. Shout out to all my members as well as just my subscribers. I'm just over 150 away to my next giveaway, which will be at 5,500 subscribers. So as soon as I hit that, definitely hit that notification bell so you do know when that giveaway does go down, because I want all my subscribers to be included in that one. And shout out to Chewy, man. I see you in the building. I did a surprise giveaway on my last live, and Chewy, you're one of the winners, man. Shout out to you. I got your giveaway over to you, man. But I appreciate you popping in here. Let me say what's up to everybody that's in the building already. Chewy, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you. Art White in the building as well. What's happening, man? You're saying, I see you in just a second. Huey P, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you. And yes, we got good value for JAKOBI. We're about to talk about it in just a second, man. And Kelly hit us with the stupid response. I'm going to go over it, and I'm going to play the response. I'm going to play the interview, and I'm going to pause it, and I'm just going to kind of give you my take on some of the comments that he said, which, again, is just my reaction to it. Some of it, man, just didn't fold over well with me, and so we'll definitely we'll chop it up. What up, Billy Davis? What's going on, brother? Appreciate you in the building, man. And Chew, you're saying, I already can't wait for the draft. And we're going to talk about just what this JAKOBI move means for the rest of the season. We're going to talk about that as well. And I know a lot of people are already kind of hitting that mock draft mode. And so we might either do a mock draft later in the season, not right now, but you might see a starting Benjamin Cutton. I'm just saying, we might have to rock those out. Now, man, in the building, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you popping in here. What up, Rosetown? I see you in the building as well. Leo. Adam Butler survived. God damn it, man. Guys, make sure you guys go hit up Leo and hit up Leo's channel, hit Nadman's channel. Obviously, Chewy, he's got his channel, man. Guys, make sure you guys go over there and hit their channels up, man. But salute to everybody in the building. Adam Butler survived, Leo, so I'll drink to that without question. Leo, man, becoming a member of the channel, man. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Hey, I think you're coming out. Not this. No, this is a away game, but Monday night. I think you're coming out Monday night, man. We're definitely gonna link up. I'll be out all weekend long. Already prepped the wife. She knows. We're gonna be rocking all weekend for that Cowboys Monday night game, man. Man, but I appreciate you becoming a member, brother. Now, man, you're saying I'm pretty damn happy. Y'all be honest. Removing any drama and moving forward makes me good to go. The game Sunday showed something to look forward to. And I guess that's the big question, right? I understand it's drama. I think JAKOBI did a damn good job of just not inflating the drama, right? You could have players that without question could make it their own drama. And JAKOBI did a very good job of just coming to work, coming to practice and saying, look, even when the media pressed him, I think his response was perfect. Earlier in the season, right? Before the games even started, I'm going to talk about that in a second. But before the games even started, JAKOBI did a very good job of saying, look, I asked for an extension. They didn't want to give it to me, and he kind of moved on. And the media really couldn't expand on that. It was a very plain and simple response to the point, and let's move on. And that's basically what we did. We really didn't hear a whole lot from JAKOBI or even the front office regarding an extension for JAKOBI. He came to work, he played, he did his thing, and I think that's just kind of goes to show just the professionalism that JAKOBI brought to the building. I'll be honest, I think it's tough to see him go just because I think that he could have been a really good piece to the overall puzzle. But we moved on, but we'll talk about the draft capital we got for him, man. But to your point now, man, we now know. We're moving on. It's out the building. We got who we're going to rock with. I'm going to pull up the depth chart so we can kind of break this thing down. And we're going to move forward, man. So, but man, salute to you, man. Appreciate you. What up, Dre, in the building? What's happening, brother? You're saying send JAKOBI quite quitting ass on. Hey, it's the hard part. It's the hard part with JAKOBI. Just we move on from it. We always knew that's kind of what was about to go down. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you why. And I mentioned this about a week and a half when that whole JAKOBI Meyers trade talk started to happen. When I just talked about the media addressing him in the locker room, and he basically said, "I asked for it. They shut me down." I came out and kind of give you my opinion as to why I don't think trading JAKOBI at the beginning of the season made any sense. And I said it made more sense for us to trade him at the trade deadline. And I gave out multiple reasons why I thought it made more sense to do it now as opposed to beginning of the season. I'll get into that in just a second. Yeah, Leo, man, you're saying can't wait for that LA takeover. Raider Nation is the only thing to get excited about. It's not only, right? I'm just curious to see just kind of how deep the Raider Nation is going to show off for that Monday night game, at least for the Cowboys, right? But, man, we're also going to rock out in SoFi. I'm going to be there in SoFi, man. Already told the wife, I think Severe and I, we're going to show up. I don't know if I'm going to go to that SoFi game, but I'm definitely going to roll up and be in LA for that weekend. We're trying to convince Chris to get out there, but we know it's probably not going to happen. But we'll see. Man. What up, Marcus, man? I appreciate you rocking in here, man. Now, I mean, you're saying Chip doesn't belong behind the mic, just a fact, and we're going to go over that press conference without question. Jeff, man, I appreciate you becoming a member, brother. I appreciate you guys. And not sure if you guys are going live tonight, man. I know you go live all week, damn near. But appreciate you, man, becoming a member as well. Guys, make sure you guys go show some support to Jeff. Always rocking with the lives. Doesn't do the 24-hour lives anymore, but I always try to tap in with you as much as I can, man. Yes, man, we're going to link up Monday night. Leo, let me know when you get into town, or at least just message me. We're going to get into town, man, because we'll link up before that. Leo, man, you're saying JAKOBI wasn't drama. This is coaching staff is. Yeah, exactly. I think it was just the drama of whether or not we're going to move on from JAKOBI, right? I don't think it's JAKOBI was drama or what have you. And yes, Leo, you're right. This whole coaching staff has just been drama and just strange ass moves all season long. But I think just knowing that it's done with, we're moving on. I think that part is over, but man, we're going to break this thing down without question. Huey P, man, respect to JAKOBI, ultimate professional, 100%, man. Leo, the JPJ drama. Yeah, this regime. I know, man, it's crazy. But Jeff saying, yeah, but now we got a pure number one receiver. Man, we're going to go over the depth chart. We are going to go over the depth chart without question, brother. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. The Wilkins drama, that's where it all started. Without question. Now, I mean, you're saying just the fact he wanted traded, yes, and it happened. It's done. I'm happy. Love JAKOBI. Hope all goes well for him. And I think that's what we all feel. God damn it, Leo. And the Pratt release, yeah, man, yes. It's just all drama. God damn it, man. We're going to go over that receiver room in just a second. Yeah, man, the Dallas game last night made me feel much better about the Raiders. I called that game and knew that was going to happen weeks ago. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to give you and I'm not saying that I'm like our boy Chris over at Protect the Shield. I'm not the biggest successful bettor. I have my strategy, which works out fairly well. Don't get me wrong. But when I started to change my betting strategy, this was probably about 4 years ago. When I changed my betting strategy, not to what I thought was going to happen, or I thought just logically this is what should happen in an NFL game, I started to change my betting pattern to what I think the NFL wants to happen. And when I changed that up, I started to win. I'm just saying, because remember, the NFL is entertainment. That's at least what it's categorized as. But yeah, kind of wild that Arizona goes up and takes it to Dallas in Dallas. But shit, you look at all the other games. The Miami Dolphins just mopping up Atlanta last week, and they actually killed my parlay. I had a parlay with a bunch of my buddies, and someone in our group picked the Falcons to beat up Miami, and obviously that screwed our parlay. But that's neither here nor there. What up, ASAP in the bill? What's going on, brother? And Oon, what's happening, man? And now, man, gifting 5 memberships, brother. I appreciate you, man. You've done it. I think you did it the last time or a couple lives ago. You're doing it again, man. I appreciate you, for real. Multi-Troy, what's going on? Gruden was great. Just don't let him draft. That's true. I think a lot of people. Long story short, I didn't like Gruden and the way that he called his offense and how predictable he was. You combine that with the draft, yes, don't let him draft without question. But I wasn't a big fan of just the way that he ran his offense. And I have multiple reasons why, but I don't want to get too far into it. One thing that is bad is I think he was 1 for 12 on challenges in his career. That just kind of goes to show it wasn't the best. But we did see some progress, and unfortunately the NFL decided to screw us over. I know when you're saying we got to steal for JAKOBI, we won't get into that without question. Tubi, Chili, what's going on, brother? I appreciate you. Sacktown in the building. What's happening, man? What is going on, brother? Appreciate you. I just want to make sure I say what's up to, let's see. Leo, you're saying the NFL is rigged like boxing. I'm not saying that. But I'm not going to deny it either. You just never know. You never know. I don't want to get into that topic, man. That could be a whole nother 2-hour topic with the whole NFL stuff. I'm not going to lie. What up, Kevin? What's going on, brother? I see you in the building as well, man. I appreciate everybody rocking. So let's do this. Let's kind of jump into this JAKOBI thing, right? Let's first just take a look. I'm going to share the screen. I appreciate everybody popping in. If you can, double tap that screen. It definitely just hits that like button, helps that algorithm a little bit. I definitely appreciate you guys. If y'all want to get involved in the chat, hit that sub button as well. Just a little something I do just to show my appreciation to all the subscribers. So let me go ahead and share the screen. We're going to pop up there. As we all know, JAKOBI, we kind of moved on from him. That was really the only news that we got from us. And here's the thing, is you got JAKOBI in exchange for a 4th and 6th rounder. And so the Jags send over a 4th, a 6th rounder, and they go ahead and get JAKOBI. So hit that hashtag Raiders. Let me know. Do you think we won that exchange? Do you think we won this trade? Again, Jags get JAKOBI, and you look at what the Jags get. The Jags get JAKOBI, a solid number 2 receiver. You team them up with Brian Thomas Jr. over there. And then when Travis Hunter comes back, there's a really good chance that they might just go ahead and extend JAKOBI. They might give him another extension just off of this year. You just don't know how they're going to work out that contract, if they even do. But if they do extend JAKOBI, man, that could be a pretty deadly receiver core over there with Travis Etienne in the backfield. That could be a pretty nasty just receiver room. But let me know, who do you think won that trade? Do you think the Raiders won it? Do you think the Jags won it? Again, we get a 4th and a 6th. The one thing to just keep in mind with this transaction is that JAKOBI wanted out anyways, right? They made it very clear JAKOBI wanted out. So we were going to be basically moving on from him at the end of the season, and we weren't going to get anything for him anyways if we let this prolong into the offseason. And if we would have let him move on, and we weren't going to re-sign him, he was going to move on. There was no chance of us re-signing him, obviously, after all the drama that kind of went through with not extending him. There's a chance that we probably would have gotten a 4th just based off of comp picks. But that 4th would have been in the 2027 draft. It wouldn't have been in this upcoming draft. And so, question is Pete Carroll even around by 2027? You know, just depending on how the seasons go. Obviously, this season is kind of a wrap at this point. I think, in my simple opinion, I think without question, I think we won this trade. I hate seeing JAKOBI go. I think he could have been a damn good asset as it relates to the overall picture. I wish we would have done a better job of drafting a number 1 receiver in the draft. You know, I was a big T-Mac fan. I wanted us to go get T-Mac. There was about 4 other receivers in front of Deontay Thornton that I wanted to go get to potentially be a good combo to Jakobi Meyers and Brock Bowers. We obviously know Brock Bowers is our number 1 receiver threat. But to me, I felt like JAKOBI could have been a very good piece to the overall puzzle. But we just didn't do a good job of going to get another very good receiver threat in this room through the draft. And Deontay Thornton, it just isn't looking very good for him right now. Could it change by next season? Could he improve? Of course, right? But right now, he's just not showing the traits that is going to show a good number 1 receiver, let alone a number 2 receiver. That's the hard part, is we wanted Deontay Thornton by week 8 of the season to really show some promise. And again, we're going to go into the receiver room, so I don't want to get too deep into that. But overall, given the fact that JAKOBI would have moved on anyways, and we could have gotten a comp pick at best, I believe it would have been a 4th rounder. For us to get a 4th and a 6th, I think without question, we won the trade given the fact that JAKOBI wanted out in the beginning. He didn't want to be here. We weren't going to retain him. So you go ahead and you go get some draft capital. Now, one thing I will say is the reason why I think that this was really good timing, and it made all the sense in the world for JAKOBI to be traded and dealt at this time, was because when the talks came out at the beginning of the season, it was about a week and a half before the season started. That's when the reporter hit JAKOBI in the locker room and asked him, hey, have you asked for an extension? Do you want an extension? And JAKOBI said, I asked. The Raiders said no. And then, funny, Leo, shout out to you, right? The drama. And then less than, I think, 24, 48 hours later, Amari Cooper decides to come into the building. And Amari Cooper was like, yeah, no, I'm out. I'm done with this organization. So, and that was like, I mean, I won't say that was less than 48 hours later. And so, at that moment, the Raiders had zero leverage of any trade because JAKOBI has already vocally said that I want an extension or I want out, and the Raiders said we're not doing it. So the Raiders had no leverage in any negotiation talks with any team. But because teams also already knew that JAKOBI wanted out and he was going to be a free agent, they knew that why go after him right now? And at that point, the draft is already done, free agency is already done, rosters are pretty set. Unless there's just some team that knew they completely missed in free agency, completely missed in the draft, and now they need a receiver, maybe there was a team that would have pulled the trigger, but even then, the Raiders have no negotiation leverage at all because of everything that was going on a week and a half before the first game. And at that point, there's a week and a half left until your week 1 opener. No team is going to bring a receiver in with a week left before the first game and give up any value for that. And so when all that drama was going on, I came on here and I basically said it makes no sense to deal JAKOBI for either party, for JAKOBI's side or the Raiders side. It made no sense a week and a half before the first game. But the reason why I said it made all the sense in the world to potentially move on from him at the trade deadline is because injuries happen. And look at the Jaguars situation. They lose Travis Hunter. He's on IR. And the Jags are actually competing. They have a chance. Their season still has promise. And so what do? You go after and you find another weapon that's going to help this offense to continue to progress a already somewhat successful season. And that's what the Jags are looking at. So they needed a final piece. So they're willing to potentially bid a little bit more if there was a little bit of competition. I know that there was reports that multiple teams reached out for and interested in JAKOBI. And so the Raiders had some leverage, not a lot, but some leverage at the trade deadline because now there's teams that are in need for a receiver based on the fact that there's injuries that happen throughout the season. So I thought it was just perfect timing, to be dead honest. And for us to get a fourth and a sixth, I do think is great value for JAKOBI. Because look, he's a serviceable number one threat. He's not a top number one threat. I think he's a great number two. He's a great number two in a really good system. But I think I do think that we won that, given the fact that he would have moved on, and we wouldn't have got zero. We would have got zero value out of him if he would have moved on. So let me know, guys. Man, you're saying, we must remember that we do have a rookie GM that needs development, but he did learn that. Did learn right, and I'm with you. You know, Spytek, it's his first time. This is what kind of frustrates me a little bit, because I know I hear a lot of people saying, but look at what the Bucs did, and look at how the Bucs drafted, and look at what, the moves that they made. Well, Spytek wasn't the final decision maker. And when you finally are in that driver's seat, it's up to you to figure out the direction, right? Even though you might have sat next to your old man back in the day, and this is kind of how he got to A to B, when you're finally in that driver's seat, you're going to take note of what your old man did back in the day. You learn things from him. You learned how to navigate, in that passenger seat a little bit, but you were never that final decision. And it really remains to be seen. I guarantee you, Spytek probably didn't agree with 100% of what that Bucs GM did. And so he wants to kind of put his little taste on it. He wants to put his mark on it. But what is that mark? And is that mark going to be successful moving forward? Right? And so just because the Bucs did something doesn't mean that he's going to do the same. Look, the Bucs went after Bucky Irving later in the rounds, but we went ahead and got Genty in the very first round. That's something the Bucs didn't do, and the Bucs knew value of a running back later in the draft. But Spytek went a completely different way. So he is a rookie GM. He is going to have to learn. He's going to have to understand how to navigate this in the driver's seat, and it remains to be seen just how well he's going to do. That's why just the way that this draft class is kind of working out right now is very, very suspect. And I have my concerns. I'm not going to lie. I have my concerns, and at this point, he's got to prove a lot to kind of turn this rookie class around. Let's see, man, you're saying I was hoping for a fourth and got a fourth and a sixth. Hell yes, we won. I'm with you, man. And when you're saying one, it's a steal. It is. I'm with you. Man. ASAP, what are you saying? 805 exposing the game is a must. Truly, I think you might be talking about the NFL and betting and stuff, but hey, I'm not trying to expose nothing. NFL will come at your ass. Leo, only thing real is WWE. At least they tell me it's entertainment. I'm with you. Let's see. Nah, man, even if the Raiders wanted to keep JAKOBI, that deal was far too good to let it go. Yes. I agree. What up, Cool Kev? What's going on, brother? I appreciate you popping in here, man. What the Raiders get in the trade, man? A fourth and a sixth, and I'm gonna in the next slide. Not slide. Sorry. In the next image, I'm gonna show you just all of our draft picks, and what we're looking forward to in the 2026 season. I just kind of want to make sure I kind of get to everything that I kind of want to talk about. But let me make sure I kind of get to everybody here. Leo, are you saying even trade for Kobe? Do you think it's even? Jags got a really good number 2 without question, and we got a 4th and 6. I do think the Jags also made out. Like I do think that the Jags did a very good job based on what they have. And if they extend JAKOBI a little bit and you bring Travis Hunter into it and Brian Thomas Jr., I mean, that's a fire offense. It just depends on just how well, I'm blanking on his name, that quarterback does over there. J-Dog, man, yep, 4th and a 6th, man. I appreciate you popping in as well. Let's see. Leo. Hey, Leo. Hey, and you know with that whole Besh pick, you know what my reaction was to that. And I hated that I had to say it. I hated that I had to say it when that pick did go down, but I just hope it just wasn't the story behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the hard part. And you know how I felt about that pick, man. We were together there at Parkway Tavern, man. It was rough. Daniel, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you rocking in here. Yeah, we talked about it, Leo, without question. Kevin, man, you're saying good return for a player who didn't want to be here. Wish him well. And I think we all agree. We all wish him well, without question, man. JAKOBI did it in a way that is very professional. Didn't create the drama. I think the Raiders are more drama than JAKOBI ever was. But without question, we hope him all the best. Cool, Kev. Good piece at $23 million for JAKOBI. Let's see. Cool, Kev. You're saying let's see if Jacksonville pays him a big deal. I think Jacksonville has better leverage. JAKOBI can come over here and be like, look, I'm going to be a masterpiece to this offense. Even though you have Brock Bowers, JAKOBI knew his value in this offense because we had nobody else. When he started to see that Jack Besh wasn't working out, that he's not performing as a second-round draft pick, JAKOBI had all the leverage in the world. He could sit back and go, you guys are going to pay me now because you try to replace me with Jack Besh, and that shit ain't working out. So he had all the leverage in the world. Now he goes to the Jags. The Jags have weapons. JAKOBI knows he's a true number 2 over there. They have ETN. Even I'm blanking on the Strange. I think that tight end is. I think he's a little bit hurt right now. But they got weapons over there. Travis Hunter as a receiver. They got weapons, so I think JAKOBI is going to get a more favorable contract to what he's actually worth as a number 2. So they may not have to pay him too much. And JAKOBI might go over there and go, man, I got myself a legit situation. He might be able to be a little bit more reasonable in his price tag over with the Jags, just to be dead honest with you. All right. So, yeah, appreciate everybody else kind of throwing comments out here. Rosetown, even in Madden, they had JAKOBI mad on them sidelines wanting out. That's brutal. That is brutal. That means you're saying not a lot of smart decisions made in this organization in many years. Wait until the trade deadline was a smart move. Yes, it was. It was. And Jags seemed like the Raiders. Jags seemed like the Raiders receivers. Remember Zay Jones? Yeah, I don't know. Is Zay Jones? I think Zay Jones is somewhere else. I don't think he's with the Jags anymore. But I do remember Zay Jones. And yes, they do like some of our receivers without question. And now you're saying Jags needed a wide receiver 2 big time as a slot receiver. That hole nearly got them beat by us. Yes, I'm with you. Wait a second. Shit. All right. Wait a second. You as a GM, you get time to develop since when? Yeah, we're giving them time, Leo. All right, we're giving them some time. But here's the thing. I think GMs have the same amount of time as head coaches. I mean, I'll tell you right now. You know, the only reason why GMs get a little bit of time is because players do need time to develop. There is a progression with the process, right? Now, you want your number 1 draft pick to work out almost immediately. You want them to be an immediate starter. Your second round, you want them to be an immediate starter as well. Third round, you have a little bit of leeway. You want them to be a starter. It might take, a few games, maybe halfway through the season. Anything past that, developmental, right? But sometimes it does take time to develop. But at the same time, when you break down the game film, man, sometimes the writing is on the wall, to be dead honest. And so, but we'll give him just a little bit of time. Just a little bit. I will say, and I'm going to throw this out there right now, I'd be more quick to let go of Pete Carroll, without question, than Johnspytek. I'd be cool to roll with Johnspytek, let him kind of work this thing out a little bit, just kind of see how he does, because he navigated the draft extremely well. It's not a big fan of some of the moves that he made when he did get those draft picks. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to continue to kind of move on from that. Cool Kev, Besh stirring the Gatorade for Thursday night's game. Probably. Besh is out there saying water sucks. It really, really sucks. Hey, Halloween's over. I saw some crazy water boy Halloween costumes. It was wild, man. Let's see what's going on. All right, hey, the 805, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you popping in here. Good seeing you in the building as well. Brian Thomas is wide receiver 1 without question. Wide receiver 1, JAKOBI is going to be that solid 2 over there, and they could do some work. They could definitely do some work. All right, so let's take a look at the compensation. So I'm going to kind of scroll down. Not only do we get obviously an additional number 4 and number 6, let's take a look at all the picks. So Jordan Reed, he's saying after Jakobi Meyers, the Raiders are now projected to have 10 draft picks in the 2026 NFL draft. That includes potential compensation picks for Trayvon Moehrig, a 4th, and Robert Spillane, a 5th. I think Nate Hobbs was supposed to be in there as well, but I don't know. I can't remember. But sorry if you guys can't see it. I might try to zoom in a little bit. Too many goddamn ads. But here's the draft order. Obviously, we got a number 1, currently number 7 overall. We got a 2, a 3. We got 4 4s as it stands right now. Our original number 4 pick. We now got the pick from Jacksonville via Minnesota, based on a different trade that they had. But then we also have our comp pick at number 4. Remember, those comp picks are always at the tail end of that round. But 3 number 4s, you got a number 5, you got 2 6s, and a 7th. So based on what Johnspytek did last year, that's a lot of movement. That's a lot of capital he has to move around if he wanted to. And I'll tell you right now, we're 2-6, and if this season just continues on the same trend that it is, and we end up winning maybe one more game at best, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be so pissed off at that Kenny Pickett. I hated the Kenny Pickett trade anyways, giving up a 5th for a guy that most likely wasn't even see the field, and even if he did, wasn't going to do anything for us. But you gave him a 5th. Could you imagine if we had a 5th as well, and we could continue to maneuver and move around? I understand the 3rd for Geno, and there's people that may not have agreed to it, and that's fine. Right, but I do think that was a sign of Pete Carroll wanting to win now, and I'm okay if that's the move you want to make, and and you want to give that draft capital, that's okay. But to give up a 5th for a backup, a guy that there were quarterbacks that were available, you could have picked up that costed no draft capital. Imagine if we had a 5th, man, just more capital, move around, move up in the draft if we wanted to. It would have been tough. And so, yeah, we got 1, 2, 3 4s, a 5th, 2 6, and a 7th. That's some good draft capital, without question. And so, guys, right now, that's what we have. One quick question before we kind of get into the second segment of this, and it's going to be more about just kind of taking a look at our current wide receiver room, and I'm going to get into Chip Kelly's press conference. But we'll take a look at the wide receiver room. Let me know, do you like our positioning now? Do you like what our draft capital looks like, given the fact that we might want to move around in that 2026 NFL draft? If, again, there's a lot of people are looking for quarterbacks. Let me know, do you like it now, the trade, knowing that, man, we got 10 draft picks. Last year, with all the movement, we ended up with 11. This is some damn good draft capital, without question. I see you guys talking about some gummies. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Jesus Christ. I think I see this one down here. So I think 805 ate too much gummies. He's not usually lost for words. I know. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. A lot of work going on today. All right. So take it easy. God damn it. Yeah, man, you're saying it's also a great draft trade capital. It is. And again, like I said, the way that SpyTek navigated the draft, and Leo, man, we were sitting there watching it in person or together, and we're sitting there going, man, the way that SpyTek moved around was brilliant. We haven't seen that in a very long time. Unfortunately, it just doesn't look like he did much with it, which isn't good, but we'll kind of see just kind of how it pans out. But Leo, you're saying all those picks sound good, but will they make right choices with them? I'm with you, man. You put stuff like that, it's going to make me have to grab another 805. That's what's going to make me do. Last year's draft list is wondering. We got a lot of question marks. I'm with you, Huey P. It depends. Is old man Pete still at the helm next year's draft? Oh, man, now you're going to make me grab another beer. Jesus Christ. And that is the problem, right? Do we want Pete Carroll to be the one still kind of having a hand at what the outcome of this next year's draft looks like? That's my biggest concern. And I've said this multiple times in other lives and stuff like that, is what happens if we go ahead and get a quarterback next year, and then all of a sudden Pete Carroll either resigns, retires, or we let him go because it's not panning out? Does the next head coach want that quarterback? And then we just wasted a first-round draft pick on a quarterback that we end up moving on from. Like that's the position that we're put in. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's just a concern that I have with putting this draft capital in the hands of a head coach that's not going to be here in the long term. Because Pete Carroll won't be here for the long term, and that's just the shitty situation us Raider fans are in. Is do we waste it on a quarterback knowing that the next head coach regime may not want him? Now, there's the only caveat to that is Chip Kelly the next head coach? That's the only way, to be dead honest. I'm not here to get an argument as to whether or not Chip Kelly is the next guy, because I got his press conference that we're going to enjoy. But that's the only part that would make sense, is if Chip Kelly ended up being the head coach. Then Chip Kelly's in that coaching, that war room, in the coaching room, having an opinion as to who that quarterback is that he wants to work with. Then you draft that quarterback, Chip Kelly becomes the head coach, and now you have that tandem. Chip Kelly, head coach, and now Chip Kelly could potentially, if it all works out, I'm not saying it is, I'm not here to get in that argument right now, but then Chip Kelly could be the next head coach for, let's say, the next 12, 13 years with that quarterback. That's when it would all make sense. But is that what's going to happen? Remains to be seen. Chewy, now trade Max for some picks. That might be the hot topic, to be dead honest. If we go 2-15, if we go 3-14, that might be the next topic. It's obviously not going to happen now. Trade deadline's over, right? But at the end of the season, do you trade him away? He's got an amazing contract for any team to want to go after a maxxcrosby. So that will be the hot topic if we just absolutely shit the bed next season, to be dead honest. Kevin Lurker, if you got a first for Genty, would you trade him? I would. You want to give me a first for Genty? I'm going to sign on that dotted line before you get that deal away from me, to be dead honest. Because I'm just not a big fan of drafting a running back in the first round. Unless you are picking late in the first round and that's the final piece that you need. That's the only time that I'm doing it. And I mentioned this in another live. One of the reasons why, and I'm sorry, I can talk a lot about football if you guys haven't noticed already. But one of the reasons, there's a lot of reasons why I'm not a fan of picking a running back early in the first round. There's another reason why. And if you hear everybody talk, I could care less if you're a beat writer, if you're an analyst on NFL Network or ESPN, if you're a content creator. I don't say it a lot. I did early on, but not so much in the last, I want to say month and a half, because there's just a different aspect as to why you don't pick a running back early. And that's what I'm going to kind of get into right now is everybody says, why aren't we giving Genty the ball? He had, I think, a total of 18 touches last game, right? Everybody says, why aren't we feeding them the rock? Feed him the rock. Feed him the rock. Well, what do you think defenses are going to do against us? How are they going to scheme against us? They know we're going to hand it off to Genty. And Genty is one person set up in the same exact spot for the most part every single play. So it basically gives defense the leverage knowing that we're going to try to feed him the rock 25 times a game. You're giving it a tell. As an offense, you have to be able to run plays and scheme up plays based on what works, based on the weakness of the defense, based on your strengths and also how you can expose the defense. And if the running back doesn't play a role in that, then you don't run that play. But because we picked Genty number 6 overall, we're almost forced to have to give him the ball, even if it's not the right call, even if it's not working. I mean, we can continue to run Genty into the ground, but if it's not working, you have to move off of it. And so that's why if you hear everybody talk, everybody says, why aren't we giving Genty the ball? God give him the ball. God him feeding the rock. And it's like, well, what the hell do you think defenses are going to think we're going to do now? And I think that's why Chip Kelly isn't doing it as often or as much as everybody wants him to. Is because you have to go with the flow of the game. You have to go based off of what defenses are giving you. It's not about, and this is, again, I'll go a step further. The way offenses have to work nowadays, it's you take what the defense gives you. It's a numbers game. If the defense wants to stack the box, then expose them in the air. If the defense wants to lighten the box, then you can go ahead and run the football. You have to take what defenses give you. But if you force your hand constantly, then you're not going to find yourself with success. Like that, defenses are too good. Defenses are too fast. Defenses are too sophisticated, and they disguise coverages extremely well. And so you have to take what the defense gives you. It's a mind game. It's a chess match. But if you're forced into giving one player the ball 25, 26, 27 times a game, you can get creative. You can give him the passing game, stuff like that. I understand that. But if you're pigeonholed in just giving him the ball, it's not going to work. I'm sorry. It's not going to work. And that's the other reason why I hate taking a running back so early is because now you are forced to get the value out of him. And that's what everybody expects. So, sorry I ranted for a second. I apologize. Let me kind of get back to the chat. But yes, Kevin Lurker, I would trade a first for him in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. So, now I'm saying, we need to understand, regardless, Geno will be QB1 next year. Yes. So development of quarterback in second and third round can be an option. But then is Geno that dude to develop? Not sure he ever was. I'm not sure. I don't think Geno would be opposed to just developing the next guy. Nothing tells me that he would be opposed to it. I'm also not saying he would. But yes, I'm a full fan of making sure the quarterback sits, develops, and that would be the right path. I'm with you. Leo, Chip Kelly, you really want Chris to never come out? We got to get Chris out here. That's all I got to say. Huey P, please note Chip Kelly being a head coach. I remember him in Philly. He blew it all up with his ego and the lack of being able to relate to players. I 100% agree. I'm just saying hypothetically, that's how it should work if we get a quarterback. Because I'm telling you, if we blow this thing up and we drafted a quarterback, that next regime may not want him, and now we're screwed. We just wasted the first round. That's the hard part. Now, I mean, the only college head coach that failed worse than Chip in the NFL was Urban Meyer. Yeah, and I'm a big Florida Gator fan, so yes, Urban Meyer was a rough one. Genty was drafted best player available, and so was Brock the year prior. So you're okay with the tight end early, but not a running back. No. So here's the thing. I wasn't good with the tight end early either. I wasn't. Because back-to-back years, I've been saying I want to prioritize the trenches. I wanted Talisi Fuaga. That's who I wanted last year. And I pounded the table for it. Now, it's not to say that Brock isn't a great player, but here's the reality of it. Brock got us 4 wins last year. Brock currently, and he's been injured, so I understand that. But Brock got us 4 wins last year. Brock has got us 2 wins. Gentie's got us 2 wins. The thing is that it's trying to make sure that all the pieces to the puzzle fit. Now, if they would have went free agency like I wanted and got one of the best guards in the free agency, different story. But they got Alex Kappa. Like, that's the problem that I have. You know, last year they went and got Cody Whitehair. That's the problem that I have. You know what I'm saying? And so I wasn't a fan of Brock Bowers. Like, I've been a advocate of building the trenches for the last 2 years. And we just really haven't done it. And this is where we stand, unfortunately. Because if you prioritize and I've said this for years, even before starting this YouTube thing, when you prioritize the offensive line, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You protect your most prized possession, which is the quarterback. And all these quarterbacks in the National Football League are professionals. You could put a mediocre quarterback behind the best offensive line in the National Football League, and they could find some success. They're not going to be the best quarterback. They could find some success because you're protecting them. You're keeping them upright. But then that offensive line will also open up holes and open up running lanes for a 5th-round running back, for an undrafted free agent running back, for a free agency running back that you get bottom of the barrel. Like, that's what a good offensive line does, and that's why I've been always an advocate for it. And so I wasn't a fan of getting Brock Bowers. Great talent. Generational talent, but can you put together all the other pieces to make that one piece work? And we haven't been doing it, unfortunately. What up, Jason? What's going on, brother? Appreciate you popping in here as well. Okay. My bad. What up, Chris? What's going on, brother? Hey, man, we got to link up soon. Man. Appreciate you popping in here. All right, my bad. I end up talking too much. That's on me. But I definitely like getting to Kappa is it's bad. It's bad. I think we all knew it was bad. Nah, man, Forsyth has done better than I expected. We broke down the game film, bro. He was atrocious last year. But we broke down the game film. I'm 100% with you. He's doing better than I expected him to. Definitely has his flaws, but nowhere near what I thought he would have been. So I'm with you. I'm glad that is at least one acquisition that is tied to Pete that is actually working out. I'm not sure if the other ones we can say have worked out too much. Gino's been struggling, right? Actually, I take that back. Jamal Adams has been doing well, so you got to give him that. So overall, I'm glad to see that Forsyth has been doing better than we thought. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to get to the Chip Kelly press conference in just a second. I appreciate everybody rocking in. Double tap that screen if you can. It definitely helps me out. It just hits the like button. I appreciate all the subscribers. I do a sub-only chat. I'm about just over 150 away from my next giveaway at 5,500 subscribers. So if you want to be included, hit that sub button. It'll be my 13th. Did my last giveaway. Chewy, man, you got your giveaway. The other guy, I'm blanking on his name. That one, I got him his giveaway, man. I just did a little surprise giveaway. Appreciate you guys, man. But I do another giveaway at 5,500 subscribers. So if you want to be included, hit that sub button. But I appreciate all the members as well, man. Nah, man, you gifted 5. I appreciate you, man. But yeah, double tap that screen. Huey P, you're saying, are we putting JBJ back at center? I just don't think it's going to happen, brother. I just don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. So before we get to the press conference, let's get to the depth chart really quick. Hopefully you guys can see it up on the screen. This is what the receiver room looks like as it stands right now. Guys, let me know in the comment section. Do me a favor, hit that hashtag Raiders. Got over 60 in the building right now. I definitely appreciate it. Definitely just helps me catch the comment. Hit the hashtag Raiders. What's your confidence level in this receiver room right now. I understand Brock Bowers is our number one. He's our number one without question. Our number one receiver target, right? What's your confidence level? Rate it 1 to 10. 1 being absolute trash, no confidence at all in this receiver room. 10, all the confidence in the world. They're going to be the best receiver room in the National Football League. Let me know, 1 to 10, what's your rating of this receiver room right now? Right now, we got Trey Tucker. He's going to work as the number one. And I'm going to kind of go down the line of what I think of these receivers right now. Trey Tucker, number one. Tyler Lockett, obviously we just brought him in. He's going to be the number 2. Deontay Thornton wasn't even active last game. Not sure what's going on with him. Then we got Alex Bachman. I think there's a really good chance we're going to elevate somebody like a Cedric Jackson's. Maybe we're probably going to elevate somebody from the practice squad after Jakobi Meyers moving on. But then you got Jack Besh. We got Jack Besh there as well. Haven't seen a whole lot of Jack Besh. Again, we're going to break down all these receivers in just a second. But then, obviously, our number one receiver target is going to be Brock Bowers. So I'm going to break this thing down. Kevin Lurker, you're at a 4. I can't argue with it. And I think here's the thing, is what really is going to struggle is you look at this receiver room right now. We are going to see exactly the issues that we saw last year, because we had a lot when Devonta Adams left. Jakobi Meyers went down for 1 or 2 games, and so we were left with practice squad receivers, and we had nothing but a bunch of receivers that were 6 foot and under, and we just couldn't navigate with that. We couldn't work with that. Not only are you bringing practice squad guys that are playing completely out of position, and now we're doing the same exact thing that we're doing we did last year, is now what it looks like is Trey Tucker is going to be the number one. And I'm going to break down each and every one. Yes, UEP, man. We rate in the receiver room. Give me a 1 to 10. 1, trash. 10, the best ever. Let me know. But let's talk about each and every one of these receivers. Here's my thing. Is Trey Tucker moves to number 1. He's not a number 1. This is going to hinder Trey Tucker's performance. Now, he might go over and on Thursday night do a decent job. Don't be surprised if Trey Tucker or maybe some of these receivers do a decent job. And I only say that is because the Denver Broncos really don't know what we're going to do with this receiver room. They don't know who's going to play where. They really don't know how to prepare for it. So we might be able to find just a little bit of success with some of these receivers. But once defenses get film on what we're doing with this receiver room, then don't be surprised if we get shut down. All right? So, but Trey Tucker is not a number 1. And the problem with that is that now we got another receiver that's 6 foot and under that's working as the number 1. I mean, you're just not helping anybody out. You're not helping Geno out. You're not helping any quarterback that gets under center with this offense. Now, and you're doing a disservice to Trey Tucker. This is what actually kind of pisses me off even more. We started to see some promise with Trey Tucker, but it was because he was being used exactly how he should have been the last couple of years. Last year, he was out of position because of the shuffling of all the receivers with Devonta Adams leaving. Now Trey Tucker is going to be forced into that number 1 receiver role, which he isn't. Now we're going to screw up his potential of success. That's just kind of what we're doing to him. QEP, yeah, you got to set 3.5. Can't argue it. Fu Chris, wide receiver rank 3.5. I like Trey Tucker, but as 1, I don't know. It's just not it. It's not it. Now you might see, and I'll talk about the tight end room here in just a second, but you might see Brock Bowers used as a number 1 more often, right? He's obviously a number 1 target, but you might see him split out by himself, singled up by himself, isolated on an island, putting him in one-on-one, trying to get your matchups. We might see that more and more. And so don't be surprised to see that. QEP, you're saying hopefully we do more bubble screens and quick tosses to get the ball into Trey Tucker's hands. We might see it. We might see it. But we got Tyler Lockett. Here's my thing. Tyler Lockett and Geno Smith, they got a connection. All right, obviously from the Seattle days, so their timing is down pretty good. But I said this in the game prior to the Jags game, is it's going to take Geno Smith and Tyler Lockett. They have a connection. They understand each other, and they have that chemistry, which is one of the hardest things for in football is for a quarterback and receiver to get chemistry down. If y'all rocked with me in the past, I've said it before. I give the example Deontay Thornton, right? Deontay Thornton. Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams can run a slant route 7 different ways depending on how that defense lines up against him and the down and distance and the situation. And so the quarterback and receiver, they got to have that chemistry. Good thing is Geno Smith and Tyler Lockett have it. But now what Tyler Lockett needs to learn is the play calling. If you've ever heard a quarterback rip off a play call, there's terminology that is very different amongst different coordinators. Now Tyler Lockett has to learn that. And so it might take him, this is a short week. He came in on a short week last week. This is a short week against the Denver Broncos. We might not see Tyler Lockett at his full potential until week 10, week 11, because it's going to take him time to understand the terminology and what Chip Kelly wants to do in this offense. And a lot, when it comes to receivers, a lot has to do with spacing. He's got to understand the spacing within the offense and the routes that are basically being called. And so we might not see Tyler Lockett in full effect until week 10, week 11. So again, we might see some success with the Broncos, and I'm not saying it's going to turn into a win. We might see some success just because that Denver defense won't really know what we want to do. Then it's all about adjustments in that second half. But that's Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett working as the number 2, another target under 6 feet. We'll kind of see how that works out, but man, it just doesn't bode well at all. Raiders for Chris, watch us beat the Broncos. I know, right? I'm with you. QEP still want to see a younger offensive line guy. Want to see the younger offensive line guys we drafted. Yeah. If we continue to lose and the season continues to go on the way it is, let's see him. It'd be different if we draft him in the 6th, 7th round, but we draft him in the 3rd. So let's kind of see what we got. And so that's Tyler Lockett. Let's talk about Jack Bech, guys. Hey, chat, let me know. What's your thought on Jack Bech? Do you think Jack Bech still has the potential to be worth a 2nd-round draft pick? I was not a fan of him. I was not a fan of drafting him. I didn't like it. You go back and watch the game film of him. A lot of people were trying to compare him to Puka Nacua, and I'm like, I remember seeing Puka Nacua at BYU. There is no comparison between him and Jack Bech. And Leo was sitting with me, and we kind of hashed it out. Like I did not like the pick whatsoever. Now here's my thing: is you picked him at 6. It better work out because it's Spytek's kind of name on the line, right? It's his name on the line. He's got to make sure that at least your first 3 rounders, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, have the potential to pan out. Right now, it's not looking too hot for him. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are on Jack Bech. Well, I get a refill right quick. Appreciate everybody rocking. Rosetown, you're saying I only see 3rd stringers in that receiver room. Tucker can pass as number 2. We need a legitimate number 1. Yeah, Tucker can pass depending on how good your number 1 is, right? So I'd like to see Tucker as more of that number 3, that slot receiver type. But yeah, he could pass as number 2. QEP, I just hope we compete, because I really thought Sunshine, a.k.a. Trevor Lawrence, had a horrible game. It wasn't great. I've already broken down almost the entire game film except for the 4th quarter, or half the 4th quarter and overtime. And Trevor Lawrence, yeah, he didn't look too hot at all. We did a very good job defensively. We did a good job. There's gonna be a couple examples when we break down game film tomorrow where the defense did a very good job of just disguising coverage, rolling coverage, especially with McCollum at safety. They did a good job. We got exposed a little bit at times too, and I'll point that out as well. But Trevor Lawrence, yeah, didn't look too hot. But Obviously, just couldn't pull it off. That's been the story of our lives as Raider fans. Smoking the Bear, what's going on, brother? What's happening, man? Cool, Kev. Besh worse than Renfro. You can't beat Renfro. You cannot beat Third and Renfro. You know what I'm saying? Like, Third and Renfro was a different beast, without question. It sucks that just the autoimmune stuff hit him. That was tough. But, yeah, man. Yeah, they ain't no comparison at all. Kevin Lurker, man. Besh, I don't see it from him. Who scouted him? Look, and that's the problem, is there was a lot of people that were high on him. And you're talking about NFL analysts. You're talking about, draft analysts that are up on the big board. I do think some of them thought it was a little early, but some of them had him in the second round, but more later second round. And so I think he was considered like a slight reach where we picked him, but still, at the end of the day, I didn't have him valued there whatsoever. If we were trying to pick a receiver, I can't rip off all the names. I probably had 12 receivers in front of him, 13 receivers in front of him before, picking him in the second round. That was wild. So, but a lot of the analysts out there, they had him. They had him high. What up, my two? What's going on, brother? Yeah, man, throwing a super chat out there. I appreciate you, brother, man. Watched a F-ton of film on the Donkeys. They don't match up well with us without Surtain. If they focus solely on Brock, it could be a ball game. Broncos the fourth quarter team. Can't do that every week. Let's blow up Bo. So here's the thing. I'm with you, man. I appreciate you throwing a super chat out there, man. That's the thing about the Broncos, right? The Broncos always give you opportunity to stay in the game because their offense isn't just completely dynamic. They're not gonna get up on you early in the game and just run away with it. That's not their MO, right? And so if you can just get some momentum, if you can go into halftime, even if you're losing, like a 7-3 type of game or a 10-7 type of game, you still have an opportunity to kind of get up on them and take advantage. And so it's going to be, if we have a chance at winning this game, I do think it's going to be a grind out game. It'll be a grind out game without question. Even without Surtain, that defense is still pretty good. Now, our offensive line, and this goes with any game, but the offensive line has to be on point, right? You got to protect Geno, which, look, you go back and watch that game, and I got a shit ton of notes on our game against the Jags. And our offensive line actually did a pretty good job throughout the majority of the game. Yes, there were some hiccups. I think JPJ definitely had his rough plays. But for the most part, the offensive line did pretty good of keeping Geno upright and giving him time to throw. And so if this offensive line can kind of do that same thing against the Broncos, I do think that we can potentially pull out a grind out game, without question. And so I haven't done a ton of breakdown or research on the Broncos, but if you just look at the way that their games kind of play out, I do. I think it could be easily a grind out game with us. Again, it's if we kind of keep Geno upright and really help him out. But appreciate, man. Man, you throwing a super chat out there, brother. I appreciate you. But look, to final out, Jack Besh, I just don't see it with him. I don't see it breaking down the game film and watching every single rep, every route that he runs. He just doesn't get separation. And that was my biggest knock on him coming out of college, was I question whether he could get separation in the National Football League, and we're just not seeing it. But then we got Deontay Thornton. Deontay Thornton, inactive last week. He hasn't proven to be a good deep ball guy. Has proven to not be able to run routes well at all. Just doesn't understand the concept of running routes, especially when it comes to combo routes, right? Like the pick routes, the rub routes, stuff like that. He doesn't run them well at all. And so I think it's reigning true that these Tennessee receivers just don't do well coming out of college, just in that offensive system that they're in. And I think it's tough. I think it's tough, man. So Deontay Thornton potentially trying to be that number one. And you would hope that if you move on from JAKOBI, that he can be that number one. Because now you put Trey Tucker in that number one receiver position. That's not a recipe for success. You would hope that Deontay Thornton could have at least at this point molded into that number one, or shit, even Jack Bech, because you picked him in the second round. You just hope that Deontay Thornton could have either molded into that number one or could have been enough of a threat to force the defense to pull the double team, right? To know where he's out on the football field at all times. That's not him. That's not him at all. And so this whole receiver core just does not feel like it's going to help out Geno in any way, unfortunately. Now, we all know Brock is our number one target, and I get that. But at the same time now, you're letting defenses double up Brock Bowers all day long, which is really, really tough. And so with Deontay Thornton, I just don't have much promise for him moving forward. You just wish he could have shown more progress if you knew the plan was to move on Jakobi at this point. So, yeah, man, donkeys do miss tackles in the run game as well. All right, let's hope that Genty can run through some. What up, Raider Pete? What's going on, brother? Collecting draft picks is good, but only if you draft well. We talked about that before, and I'm with you, man. I'm with you, and we're kind of talking about some of the draft picks that we did see this past draft class, man. It's tough. The 805 in the bill. What's going on, brother? Who would you start for receiver for Thursday? Who would I start? I mean, shit, at this point, you got to put Trey Tucker out there. Right now, because we're 2-6, I'm putting Trey Tucker, Tyler Lockett, Jack Bech, and Deontay Thornton. If we go a 4-receiver set, with Jack Bech and Deontay Thornton probably the ones rotating in. I think Tyler Lockett most likely will rotate in because, again, like I said, he just doesn't understand the system as of yet. So, but shit, Tyler Lockett, as a veteran, you kind of know what he can bring and the chemistry that him and Geno have. So if we want any chance of possibly winning this football game, Tyler Lockett's going to have to play probably 80% of the snaps. And then you kind of rotate in Jack Bech and Deontay Thornton in situational situational because shit, man, Tyler Lockett, him and Geno's got the chemistry, and let's hope that you brought him in to help us find success. But here's my thing, and this kind of moves to, and you got Alex Bachman, stuff like that, guys, not going to move a needle, right? Here's the thing. I think what's going to happen is 805. Sorry to finalize my comment on that, and it kind of goes into the tight end talk, is Trey Tucker, Tyler Lockett with Deontay Thornton, Jack Bech rotating in. I think that's who I would start moving forward. But I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a lot of Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Ian Thomas. I think that's what we're going to see. If you look at Michael Mayer last game, Michael Mayer got a ton of targets. I think he got 7 targets, I think. He got a lot of action. I think that's what we're going to see moving forward. We're going to see a bigger emphasis. Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Ian Thomas. And we might see a Tyler Lockett, Jack Bech. A Trey Tucker, a Tyler Lockett. And you might see Jack Bech, Deontay Thornton just kind of rotating in situationally. I think that's what we're going to see moving forward, to be dead honest with you. Guys, let me know if you agree, disagree. Greg Lair, what's going on, brother? I like Jakobi. Jakobi Lane in college. Jakobi Lane in college. Let's see. Now, man. Thornton's a healthy scratch. Yeah. And so the question is like, why? We didn't hear any injury reports or anything like that. He was just a healthy scratch. So I really don't know what's going on, to be dead honest, which is a little wild. Raider Pete, Thornton's a non-factor, lost in the system. Got it. Okay, Greg, I thought that's what you were talking about, just because the way Jakobi was spelled. Got it, man. I'll take a look at him, man. But I appreciate you throwing that out there. Raider Nation 510, what's going on, brother? Or Justice Shorter. You could see Justice Shorter get brought up from the practice squad. I think he's still in the practice squad. We could see that. Justice Shorter, I'm a Florida Gator. He's a former receiver. Obviously, we brought him in, and he was converted to a tight end. So, yeah, we might see it. We might see it. I know now, man. I know you out of Tennessee. Man, who's that Tennessee receiver that came out? Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt. I thought Jalen Hyatt was going to be good, man, over there with the Giants, and it just hasn't worked out. And that's Jalen Hyatt was almost a replica of what Deontay Thornton is a little bit of just a true, just deep threat guy. Not sure how well his route running is, not sure how much of a route tree that he can be, but man, it's tough. It's tough, man. Maybe just those Tennessee receivers, they are. Got to be very, very specific on how you use them because Deontay Thornton just ain't working out, man. But yeah, shout out to you out there in Tennessee. What up, John Leon? What's going on, brother? Appreciate you. Raidernation 510 saying Chip Kelly. Chip got better with his play calling. I agree. I've broken down the game film. We're going to go over game film tomorrow. The one thing that I noticed with Chip Kelly is he's moving the pocket. He's using play action well. He's getting a lot more receivers involved. It's a little more well-rounded. And I don't know if you heard my rant before about, Genty, everybody's saying, you got to use Genty. I get it. But offensively, you got to dictate the flow of the game. You can't force yourself into using one player at the running back position where he's 90% of the time he's getting the ball in the backfield at the same point every single time. Offensive coordinators got to run offenses based on what the defense is giving them, the flow of the game, and it's situational. That's how offensive coordinators have to play call. And sometimes it just doesn't equate to giving the running back the football. So, and I'm not letting Genty off the hook either. Because look, there's plenty of times where Genty he's not looking like that explosive running back that we need at times. And I'll showcase one play tomorrow when we break down some game film, so everybody checking with that. But yes, I agree with you. Chip Kelly's play call has gotten a lot better as it relates to not being as predictable. So I'm with you on that. Raiders 510 again. Design special routes for Deontay Thornton Jr. I'd like to see it. Nah, man, I'd like to see Thornton on bubble screens and let that motherfuckers with the yak. I don't even know if he'd be good at that, man. He's so lengthy, and he's not very quick. The way that he gets his speed is because of his long stride. So I just don't know if the bubble screens would really work with him too much, right? If you got a clear lane and just had a straightaway, okay, yeah, take that stride and go. But a lot of times you got to navigate through a couple defenders. I just don't know if he'd be very agile with that. But at this rate, figure something out with the goddamn kid, right? Try to get him involved and show him as a potential threat. Something that defenses can look at and take some attention off of Brock. We'll see. We will see, man. Relative saying, man, elevate Jackson to the 53. I like Shedrick Jackson, man. I did. Greg Lair, my favorite draft pick always will be an offensive tackle receiver now because quarterback is not really wooing me at the college season. I know. I'm doing more research with the college quarterbacks. I'd like to. And here's the thing. Sometimes people will hit you with the question, do you want to get a quarterback in the first round? I got to know where we're picking. I got to know where we're picking in the draft first before I can say, who am I going after in that first round? So that's what I'm going to wait for. And I got to do just kind of more research and watch a little bit more on these quarterbacks. As the season goes on and as kind of these college quarterbacks kind of get into the bowl games. A lot of times, man, these bowl games will tell a lot of some of these quarterbacks. And so that's not all of it. But you definitely like to see just how some of these quarterbacks kind of step up to the moment a little bit. So I'm going to kind of reserve my judgment on the college quarterback scene for later in the season. Raidernation Pete, Tyler Lockett brings experience and hair loss like aged wine. That's true. That is true, man. Experience, the experience part. The hair loss, who knows what it is. What a base out, man. I appreciate you rocking up in here. Let's see. Raidernation 510. I would play the big guy like Thornton. Like Thornton Jr. and shorter on the outside. Besh, Tucker, Lockett rotating in the slot. That's if man, I'd only play Thornton just because you got to see what you have out of him. But man, to me, based on his game film, he hasn't earned a goddamn thing. That's the hard part. But we did draft him in the 4th round, so you want to see what we have at him. I wouldn't be pissed off if he started and played, the vast majority of the snaps. But man, I just don't think he's earned it. And if compete is anything with this locker room, Thornton hasn't earned a goddamn thing, unfortunately. Raider Pete, man, Michael Mayer needs to keep his head straight. Then we're okay. Yeah, he looks pretty good, man. He looks pretty good, without question. Lot more 12 personnel is about to be about 70 instead of last week at 58. Yes. Yeah, you're right now, man. That's what I said. I think this move of Jakobi Meyers tells me we're going to see more Buck Bowers, Michael Barrett, and even Ian Thomas. I think we're going to see more tight end work of this tight end room than some of these other receivers. But that's just me. The 805, Mary needs to get things rolling. I agree. 58% is a high amount, but I suspect 12 personnel heavy when the season begins. I don't deny. Raidernation 510, Chip said he will only play 12 personnel based on the matchup, so could see Bowers line up in the slot, Thornton Jr. and Tucker on the outside. Yeah, we'll see just kind of how they navigate without Jakobi now. My 2, Gino has to spread the ball and give us a chance. So he did spread the ball last week. He did. He did a really good job of getting a lot of receivers involved, even some drop passes, even some throws that were intended for receivers that weren't complete. You just see the target share that he had, and he did spread that ball out. So let's hope that he continues with it, and so we can kind of keep the defense on their toes. Let's see, Jason, man. Actually, Brock runs great screens. He does. Like to definitely see him get involved as well, man. Dominic, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you in here, man. Let's see. All right, let's go. All right, so we kind of talked about the depth chart. I'm telling you, not a lot of confidence in this receiver room. Again, to me, I think that's why I think we're going to see a lot more tight end play as well. And so I'm going to kind of pull this down real quick. I'm going to go back up to the big screen, and let's get into Chip Kelly's press conference. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to play it. I'm going to pause it and kind of give you my take. I'm going to wait. I want to hear you guys' take on this press conference, because this is after Jakobi got traded. I'm going to the big screen as I set it up. This is after Jakobi got traded. So Chip Kelly definitely had some words, and obviously the reporters are going to press him for what his opinion is as to Jakobi. We're moving on from Jakobi, as well as what he felt about the trade. So, guys, let me know. Let me know what your thought is. I'm going to make sure the audio is good on this. Let me pull it back up. Let's go big screen. Let's see. I want to make sure the audio is good. I'm going to go up big, and let's see. Actually, no. Let me just make sure the volume's up. I think we're good. Let me know if y'all can hear it. I'm going to play it.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, fast one, right?
Real quick.
All right. Give me a thumbs up real quick. Can y'all hear the audio? I think we're good. I just want to make sure that we can hear it. Cool. All right. I'll go back just 1 second. All right. Okay. I'm going to pause it, kind of give you my feedback as to just some of the things that Chip Kelly says to this. And let me know what you guys take on. And again, some of it is based on, again, just me as a coach and as a player, right? For some of you that don't know, I played it for 15 years. I coached it for 23 years, right? So that's kind of where I take my perspective from a little bit. And so I'm going to share it with you guys. Again, let me know if you agree, disagree. Let's see.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, fast one, right?
Real quick.
Obviously, Jakobi Meyers no longer in the picture. Who's that created an opportunity for? And I imagine Jack.
Well, it's got to be multiple guys. Jakobi was such an impact player for us. So I wish him the best. He was a great practice player, and I enjoyed coaching him. He's a heck of a kid, but we're going to have to, you got some other receivers. They're going to have to pick it up, and then you move on. That's, we look at it sometimes as we have to approach it. It's not that it's like a player got hurt, he's out of the game. Then what do? It's the next guy's up. So, Lockett and Besh and Dante and those guys will have to step up, and we'll go from there.
So I'm going to pause it there. And again, this is a little nitpicky. I'm going to be dead honest with you. It's a little nitpicky, but the best thing he could have really said about JAKOBI, and he said a couple good things, right? Great player, so on and so forth. But then he's like, great practice player. And to me, it's like what JAKOBI brought to just this organization in the last couple of years, last few years, really, right? For him to just basically highlight, oh, just a great practice player. Again, it's nitpicky, but at the same time, you got guys that are you want to know just how much of a player's coach he is. And for him to just be able to highlight, oh, yeah, he's a good practice player, that's tough work. I'm going to be dead honest. Again, a little nitpicky, but again, you're going to be nitpicky at a guy like this because he's got to learn. He's got to learn just kind of how to relate to players. It's raidernation 510. Chip likes to have the system fit the players. In Chip, I trust. All right, man. I know. Some people still like Chip. I'm cool with Chip. It just remains to be seen just kind of how it's going to work. Oh my! I know. I hope I couldn't hear it. This dude needs in the gym and get off the Dunkin' Donuts. Damn it! What up, LA Raider? What's going on, brother? I appreciate you rocking in here. So we're going to keep rocking with this. Again, I just want to point that out. Nitpicky, but based on what his relationship with players, he's got to pick his words wisely. We're going to keep rolling.
Chip, there has been significant criticism of the usage of Ashton, and I know you're in the bubble and you're not paying attention, but do you think that criticism is fair, or do you think it's just much ado about
I
nothing?
think he leads the league in rookie rushing, doesn't he? And carry. So, and I think everything we do game plan wise is about winning that game. So it's not about how many gets how many touches. Maybe some fantasy people are a little disturbed, but we're not coaching for fantasy people, so we're just trying to win games. So I don't, that's not. I mean, he's our number one back, and when we're running the ball, he's running the football. So, and I think you saw him a little bit in the past game the other day, and he's starting to evolve in that, and trying to get him more involved in that way. So, he's continuing to grow. He's doing a heck of a job. Really excited that we have him.
So I'm gonna stop it there. And here's my thing. When it comes to Genty, and I hear a lot of people they try to justify the fact that Genty deserves more carries, needs more carries, stuff like that, is because of just his numbers. Now, go ahead and take a look. And I'm not knocking Genty, right? It's just go look at all the other rookie running backs and their production. Omarion Hampton, he's out. He's done. So you can't really compare his stats because Omarion Hampton hasn't played as many games as Genty. You look at guys like RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey's in a rotational situation. Quinshon Junkins didn't play the first 3 games, or what have you. Just because Genty's numbers look good as it relates to the rookie performance of running backs, that means absolutely nothing because the rookies, they haven't done anything. And some of the rookies, they're in rotational backfields. Travion Henderson, he's in a rotational backfield with the Patriots. So that's the one thing that I just want to say is, and look, I know Chip Kelly kind of pushes back a little bit about fantasy and stuff like that. Hondo Carpenter presented that question. And if Hondo Carpenter did a little bit of homework, you can't push that. And at the same time, Chip can't push that narrative. Chip can't push the narrative of, oh, he's one of the best performing rookies so far. Yeah, well, guess what? All the other rookie running backs are in situations where they're not the primary running back. They're in rotations, or they don't have as many games or as many carries or as many opportunities. So I think we just got to be careful throwing that narrative out. And Chip Kelly needs to be one of them. That Genty is performing so well as a rookie running back. Well, no. He's our number one running back, and he's not doing very well. Numbers wise. Let's just say, don't compare him to rookies. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, and Bueno, Chip and no filter today. Yeah, and that's how he's always been. That's how he's always been. I know, I know, LA Raider, but some of us care about fantasy too. That's right. A buddy of mine in Texas, he hit me up. He goes, "Should I take Genty in fantasy?" This was earlier in the season. Obviously, in the offseason, I was like, "Bro, don't take him." I got the I'm not going to be able to prove it to you. I got the text message to prove it, but I said don't take him. It's crazy. A lot of people don't like the fantasy reference at all. Jason, has nothing to do with fantasy, you jelly. I know. Yeah, an LA Raider, Henderson's just now getting carries. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's the hard part. Kelly can't justify Genty's performance based on the other rookie running backs. You got to throw that shit out the window because it's completely horrible comparison based on the other situations that rookies are in. So I'm just throwing that out there. All right, we're going to keep going.
Trading JAKOBI for draft picks, is that an indication?
I have nothing to do with that. So
they have a rebuilding season?
I have nothing. I'm concerned with Tuesday afternoon as a coordinator. So those decisions are all made. Those are Pete and Spy, and those I got great faith in what those guys are doing. So they just told us this morning, and our plan adjusts offensively for not having JAKOBI in the plan. Against Denver, and that's it. So I don't look any farther than that. We're really good at. Well, control what you can control. So as a player, they control what they control. As an assistant coach, you control what you can control, and then the rest of it falls up. But I don't have any aspirations to be a general manager, so I'm not looking at any of that. So
that's basically, I mean, it's a good answer because at the end of the day, that's what he has to say, right? And so at the end of the day, he's got to make sure that he says, yeah, I move on. Basically, it's a next man up mentality. And sucks that it happens on a short week, but I'm sure that they knew that they were dealing him. But next man up mentality, so definitely something that he just has to say, and he's got to focus on the guys that are still in the building.
How would you assess Jack Besh's progress?
Jack's done a nice job. He's got to play multiple positions. Whenever you're not the starting receiver, you have to play multiple positions.
I'm going to let this keep going, but this is something that kind of irked me a little bit. So pay attention to kind of just what he said here. I'm going to try to rewind it just a little bit. I'm not very happy with his response here. And I'm going to play this through, and I'm going to kind of give you my take on it and give me your feedback as well. But he talks about Jack Bech, a little bit of Dante Thornton, and I'm going to run this through.
As an assistant coach, you control what you can control, and then the rest of it falls up. But I don't have any aspirations to be a general manager, so I'm not looking at any of that. So.
How would you assess Jack Besh's progress?
Jack's done a nice job. He's got to play multiple positions. Whenever you're not the starting receiver, you have to play multiple positions because typically we go into games with just 5 receivers. So you got to back up the Z, you got to back up the slot, you got to back up the X, and so you got to play multiple roles. So you don't get to put them in just one spot and have them just stay in one spot because it's just the depth of the NFL puts you in that situation. So both him and Dante are coming along. It's the transition for any rookie is a difficult transition. So whether you're an offensive lineman or a running back or a receiver, so those guys are giving us everything. They practice hard. So we'll continue to see how they develop.
All right. Jack Bech, a second-round draft pick. Basically, according to Chip Kelly right now, that he's a backup, which we all know. He's a backup. But they're moving him around, which means that they're still trying to figure out where he can play. They're still trying to figure out 8 weeks into the season that they're still trying to figure out where Jack Bech can play. And my thing is that when you draft somebody in the second round, you know where they're going to play. You know where your focus is for that player. Now, this tells me that either their evaluation of him was completely wrong and he is not developing the way that they thought, or Jack Bech is just not very good. That's the hard part. You're still moving him around, which tells me that, unfortunately, he's not going to find himself into potentially a starting position because he's backing up multiple positions. And I'll tell you right now, it's like when you're trying to, and again, if you guys have ever played the game, played receiver, if you've ever coached it, and my guy, LA Raider, right? I know you played. I know you coached it. You're a former quarterback. When you try to move receivers around, it's like moving an offensive guard to offensive tackle. It's like you have to learn the playbook all over again because receivers have all different routes based on the play call. So you're asking Jack Bech to learn multiple positions, and based on the play call, you have a completely different assignment. So the best thing that you can do for a backup receiver is limit the playbook for him. You limit the playbook so that he's only getting a small portion of what he can actually do in the game. You're not giving him the full playbook at one position. You're now going to bounce him around. And then he also threw Deontay Thornton into that. He threw Deontay Thornton kind of into that same category. And I'm sitting there going, damn. Like, so we have a second round draft pick as well as a fourth round, which we went into the draft knowing we needed receiver help, as backup receivers that we are moving around to figure out where they can play. That's what kind of pissed me off. And that tells me that you missed in the draft. Now, could they pan out next year? Could they? Possibly. But based on what he said, and based on what I know of not just playing this game, but also coaching this game, is you're giving, and I'll throw another aspect to it. When you're a backup, you also only get limited reps in practice. You're not getting starter reps. I always talk about it with quarterbacks, right? The starting quarterback is probably going to get 70% of the reps. The second string is going to get about 20. The third string is going to get about 10. That's literally how the percentages somewhat balance out. So if Jack Bech is a backup receiver and he's trying to play multiple positions and learn multiple positions, he's just not. Maybe he gets 7 snaps a game because you just don't have the confidence in him to execute 100% of the playbook. And now he threw Deontay Thornton in that mix. That part really pissed me off because it showed me just how far along Jack Bech, our second round draft pick, and potentially Deontay Thornton is. That kind of pissed me off. And so let me take a look at what up, Frank Weber. What's going on, man? I see you in here. Appreciate you, man. Now I'm saying, Chip, you had no say in trading Jakobi. Just a question asked him as the media. I know. Oh, that's what's going on, brother. Appreciate you, man. Now, man, you said this really pissed me off. Are you talking about this comment? I think you are. Yeah, this one really pissed me off, to be dead honest. There's not much there's not much more of the press conference, but I'm going to play it out. But I want to get some of your guys' feedback as well. Man, I knew one day he was a slot receiver. Are you talking about Jack Bech? Kevin Larker. Yeah, I knew it. Effed up. I know. LS, man, you're saying Bech was a huge reach. I haven't seen a reach that big since Michael Jordan's space. I know, man. It was. It was. Now, again, a lot of the analysts and stuff, they had him in the second round, but I don't think early second round. More like back end second round, stuff like that. So I know. That man who does that to a rookie receiver, I know. It's wild. Raidernation 510. If we don't get Kubiak as head coach next year, all hope is lost. All right, Raidernation 510. That is my sleeper head coach a little bit. I know there's a lot of people talking about Joe Brady, stuff like that. Kubiak's a guy I'm keeping my eye on. And I said this in our last live, and I'll say it real briefly. One thing that I look at when it comes to head coaches is the amount of experience they have, consecutive experience in the National Football League, and who have they coached under, right? A lot of people talk about who they've coached under, like Matt LaFleur. I think he's over with Sean McVay, stuff like that. But Clint Kubiak has been in the National Football League in some coaching capacity since 2012, I believe it is. He has had a lot of coaching experience. You see what he's doing with the offense in Seattle. I think there's a good chance he stays one more year in Seattle. I think. And if he does, then, what? Who knows what goes on with Pete Carroll. But Clint Kubiak is definitely something I'm keeping my eye on, without question. Super Nomicon, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you in the building. What's happening, man? Frank Weber, I just don't like this dude. Dixon Sutter, we trust this guy to develop a quarterback. It remains to be seen. It remains to be seen, man. So again, guys, that's just my take. When I hear that with Chip Kelly saying that, just talking about Jack Bech like that, I'm sitting there going, damn. I really just don't think Jack Bech is developing well at all, but two, doesn't have the chance or opportunity to develop because he's now being moved around and is a rotational piece, and he's having to learn multiple receiver positions, which is not easy to do. So we'll see. We will see. Raider Pete, based on just play calling to strengths, who would you rather have as OC, Chip Kelly or Daniels with the Fins? I would take Daniels. I think Mike McDaniels has the creativity to be a really good offensive coordinator. I never liked him as a head coach. Now, my entire extended family are 49er fans, and so I've heard about him. I don't think he has the personality to be a good head coach. He doesn't have the personality to where when shit gets rough, does he have the personality for grown-ass men to rally behind him? I don't think he does. So I don't think he's a good head coach. But offensive coordinator, offensive mind, I think you might be right. And so I like Mike McDaniels. That's just me. Now, man, damn it. When 8:05 done, I'm going to go live and rant about this shit and do so, man. I'll definitely get into your chat, man. If you go live, let everybody know if you do go live in my chat so they could jump over to yours without question, man. But I'll definitely get into that chat, man, and help you out with the rant because it's tough. It is tough. So I'm gonna let this continue to play. I can't remember if there's any other points, but that was definitely one I wanted to touch on. But I'm gonna let this kind of play through.
In terms of Jack, what kind of similarities do you see between his game and Jakobi's game?
Yeah, I don't compare anybody to anybody, so I don't see any similarities between that. I think everybody's their own individual, so I've never looked at a player and said this guy reminds me of that guy. It's just what is that guy's strengths and what are his weaknesses, and how do you improve this? How do you lean into the strengths and improve the weaknesses is what we do in terms of the development of a player.
Okay, so I forgot he mentioned this part. I'm not sure if this guy, and I can rewind it. I'm not sure if this guy can really say anything truly positive about anybody, because the question from the reporter was, do you see any similarities between Jack Bech and Jakobi Meyers? And there's a very simple similarity that you could state right out the box, right out the top of your head. If you want to at least say something positive about a player, then you could possibly say, hey, coming out of college, we knew that he had very minimal drops, great hands coming out of college. It's something that we want to see, something we want to continue to develop, and something that we know that he can bring to the table to help this team moving forward. It's that simple. I'm not an NFL head coach, but even if I have worries or concerns about a player, I can still at least say something positive about a player when asked that question when you compare Jack Bech to Jakobi Meyers. Because I'll tell you right now, you picked him in the second round. There's at least something positive you can come up with that kid. At least something. But I just don't know if Chip Kelly has it in him to fully just say something truly positive about a player. Because for some of you that just jumped in here, we talked about him talking about Jakobi Meyers, and the best thing that he could really say about Jakobi Meyers was that he was a good practice player. I mean, that was about it. So I forgot that he said that, and that's definitely something that just sparked it just made me think, oh damn. Like, can this guy say anything truly positive about a goddamn player? And just don't know. Just don't know. LS, man. Chip is like that uncle at the barbecue is negative about everything after one beer. I know. It's tough. It is tough work. All right, let's play this thing through. Let's see if Chip surprises me with other comments that I forgot about.
Could this be a chance where his role gets a little bit more defined? Or?
Tuesday afternoon, yeah. He may get a couple more snaps in practice. So, again, we're not thinking long-term. We just found out probably just when you guys found out. So that's not what we're thinking about. We're thinking about putting in a good afternoon of work here. It's really congested in terms of our days. You know, your Monday is a Wednesday or Tuesday is a Thursday, and then in less than 48 hours we're playing a football game. So it's the week itself is slightly different. So we haven't really talked as a staff about anything. We went right from getting the news in the first staff meeting to individual right into position meeting. So
How is it synced up now where, Brock and Mike Mayer are both kind of healthy? You used a lot of 12 personnel against the Jaguars. How excited are you to be able to use them to the best of their abilities now, both being healthy like you?
Yeah, they're both really good tight ends, but I think your use of personnel really depends on what defenses you're going against and what that elicits from defenses. So, sometimes you say, hey, we should be in a lot more 12 ball if they put a different look on the field when you probably don't want to be in 12, you want to be in 11. So you're trying to figure out, how do they deploy their defensive guys based upon what you deploy, because they don't have to play what we want them to play. Like, we can't call Vance and say, hey, when we play this, can you do this for us? That doesn't work that way. So, I think each week will change because every opponent's different. So the fact that we have two, when we've always felt like we have two number one tight ends and Mike and Brock is a good deal, so but how we use them and how we deploy them each week will really depend on who our opponent is.
All right, so look, this kind of goes to what I said earlier, right? When it comes to, we talked about Genty, but the one thing I will say, Chip's right. Chip's correct, right? You sometimes your offensive play calls dictated what the defense gives you, right? You're gonna run some 12 personnel, because that's just kind of the personnel. A lot of it has to do with matchups, right? You're going to motion guys. You're going to try to create your own matchups. So he's not wrong with what he's saying, and I'll roll with that. But, to start out with, do you think Jack Besh is going to get more reps and stuff? Man, he just can't throw the kid a bone at all. And maybe Chip Kelly's just being very truthful and not sugarcoating a goddamn thing. But I think with Chip Kelly, he's just like, look, I don't know. It's a short week, and we'll see what happens with the rotation. So we'll see if we see more Jack Besh. We just don't know. I'm going to keep rolling this through. We'll kind of see what else he says, see if he surprises me with any more comments.
Do you think Vance Joseph's defense in Denver has been so effective over the last couple of years?
Vance's done a really nice job. I think he mixes and matches his schemes. I think he plays to his strength. Obviously, it starts up front. That defensive front is the best in football right now. They have the most sacks by 10 or more, I think, right now. I think they have 40 and nobody's even in the 30s. So they can generate pressure. He doesn't have to all out, but he will all out you. So you can't say, they don't have to all out because they've got a really good four-man rush, but they will all out you. And if you're not ready for it, they're going to get shots on your quarterback. So I think because they can disrupt the timing from their pass rush standpoint, and they can present multiple coverages on the back end, I think he does a great job of mixing and matching. I think he's one of the top coordinators in this league. Okay,
so I'm going to go back to the big screen because he just went on and went to the Broncos, which is cool. But going through that press conference, that was one of the things that I kind of want to point out is, he kind of just downplayed JAKOBI on just really what he brought to the table. And I want to see Chip Kelly, if he ever has the potential to be the future with this Raiders coaching staff, how does he become more of a player's coach based on his history? And then in addition to that, what I just explained with you guys with Jack Besh, I'm not sure if Jack Besh is really going to live up to the second round draft pick that we got him at, unfortunately. And if you're going to keep him as a rotational player and move him in multiple positions, that's going to be very hard for him to overcome moving forward. Could have happened next year. It could. I'm not going to deny that. But based on what we see so far, it's going to be really difficult to know how well he's actually going to do. And so I'm going to kind of get into the chat. Let me kind of get down to, let's see what people are saying. Let's see. UEP, Chip looking like the kid from the Goonies, Sean Austin. That's brutal. Nah, man, you're just calling him out. Now, that right there is a bold-faced lie. And it is tough work. It's tough work. Raidernation 510. What's going on with DCAM? We need him on the field this week. I'm going to talk about, now that we talked about JAKOBI, we talked about everything, I'm going to finish it up with just some of the players that maybe we didn't move on from. We'll kind of just see how I'm going to get you guys' opinion on who we thought we could have moved on, but then I'm going to finish it up with shit, because I've been on here for about an hour and 45 minutes, man. I never think I'm going to be on here for too long, but maybe I talk too goddamn much. We're going to talk about what is really the outcome or the outlook of the rest of the season. You move on from JAKOBI. What's the outlook? Because that's why we went over the depth chart, right? And we just kind of figured we looked at what does this offense even look like moving forward now that JAKOBI is no longer on it, and shit. What does that mean for the rest of the players in this locker room? What does Max think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like, what do you think Max thinks right now? You get rid of one of your best offensive weapons, and we know what JAKOBI was last year. If you get rid of one of your best offensive weapons, what do you think Max feels? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me see real quick. Let's see. Raiders for Chris. Most look good in the return game. Yeah, he's showing up without question. Let's see. I want to make sure I kind of get to everybody. LS, what the fuck even come on here? Was it purely for the $6 million? You pay him and make him the highest paid offensive coordinator in, I think, ever. You had to entice him some way, somehow. QEP, how did our coaching staff sign off on Chip? I know it is wild. It is tough. Let's see. Ryan S., what's going on, man? Remind your family that Chip Kelly was 2-14 as a Niners head coach. I know, and trust me, I know. And they've, my dad coached me as a little kid, and all my family are Niner fans, and a lot of my family played football as well, and they actually kind of brought me on to some of the issues that they saw when he was the head coach as Niners running the offense, and they hated the fact that Chip Kelly was basically like a one-read offense. And you're starting to see that a little bit with his offense here. You watch Geno's progression, you watch his eyes, and he is like it's like a one-read offense. So there is definitely concern there. And so it's going to be a long night. I know. Now, man, hey, get your drinks ready if you're going live, big dog. Let's see. QEP. Makes sense. Plus, he just won. He just won with Ohio State. So he's a hot commodity, but damn, $6 million in this offense can't pick up our yard. I know. We're going to go over game film. Tomorrow, we're going over game film again. You might think, damn, why game film? But at the same time, we also got to know who we're going to move on from, who we're going to keep. We're going to keep. You know what I'm saying? Now, man, I do like that he said we have 2 number 1 tight ends. I'm with you on that. I agree with you on that. LS, man, I appreciate you throwing a super chat out there, man. Why do I get the feeling it's Chip versus Pete versus Spy? So I presented this question to Severe when I went live with him because I don't know much about Pete. Just kind of Severe followed him a lot because of UCLA and Severe being a UCLA fan. But I'm like, if behind the scenes with Chip promised something that he's like, hey, I'm stealing you from from college football. I'm going to make you the highest paid offensive coordinator ever. You're going to come over here in a shit situation where we don't have a quarterback because we didn't. We had Aiden O'Connell. That was it. So you had to entice him some way, somehow. Did you kind of secretly or underneath under the table be like, hey, you're going to come over. We got a head coach that's going to last maybe 3 years tops, but you're going to be the next guy up. Is that how you enticed him to come over? And if that's the case, is Chip Kelly the guy? Is Chip Kelly the type of guy that can kind of undercut his ass a little bit and kind of be like, bro, I my seat's solid. I know I got this job. So, bro, your time's limited. And he's like, I might make your time limited. I'm not saying that's the case, but also I know Chip Kelly, because of his past, he's pretty cutthroat. He ain't got no ties to Pete Carroll. You know what I'm saying? And so I just don't know if Chip Kelly would be willing to do that, but you just never know. But man, I appreciate you throwing that super chat out there, brother. I appreciate you not just being a member, but being my first ever member, man. I appreciate you, man. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this kind of as I go through. Man, you're saying Max said on the rush that it sucks, but it's business. It is business. but it's also business for Max too, man. I wonder just how long he's going to stick around for this. When does the priority of winning a championship overlook or overtake just your passion for the Raiders? And every elite athlete will go through that. Just when does that table turn for him? I don't know. I have no clue. You know what I'm saying? So let's do this. We had some players that we thought were on the trading block. Malcolm Kuntz could have been out. That would have made a lot of sense, right? The edge rushing position is one of the most sought after positions. There could have been a team that was willing to potentially move on. And it would have made sense. A lot of people talked about JPJ. I think it would have been wild if they let go of JPJ, to be dead honest with you. Again, it remains to be seen. Is it the coaching or is it JPJ? Is it the switching up from center to guard that is hindering JPJ? We don't know. And no one can really tell what the problem is. But you move on from a guy that was the Remington Award winner and just the dysfunction that we've seen with his offensive line and the way that they shifted things up would have made sense. I don't know. I would have been pissed if we moved on from JPJ. Not because I think I think he has the potential to be a very good player. But you can't just create so many needs and holes in the free agency and draft. Like, you can't just gut this goddamn team and all of a sudden you need 7 different position groups that you need to address in free agency in the draft. We have over 26 players that are on either a 1 year or the last year of their contract. We are going to be shopping this offseason. And so, and based on what our season looks like, not a lot of these 1 year contracts or players on the last year of their contract may even want to come back. So why create another vacancy and another need when you need a guard? You need 2 guards if you let go of JPJ. It would have been crazy. So a lot of people, there was reports coming out that Michael Mayer was a hot commodity. There was one report that I think Green Bay called about him, which made all the sense in the world. Tucker Kraft goes out on IR, and Green Bay is on the verge of really making a push for a Super Bowl. They made that massive trade for Micah Parsons. Made sense for him to go out there and potentially, or for Green Bay to ask about Michael Mayer. I'll be honest, I'm very happy that Michael Mayer is still with us. It just gives us another weapon. It helps us continue to move forward a little bit. And you still got him on a rookie contract, so we still got him next year, which is really good. And you move on from Jakobi. Shit, if we move on from Jakobi and Michael Mayer was gone, damn, I feel bad. Even though Gino's not playing well, I feel bad for Gino. LS Max should have been traded. Yeah, it's tough because, man, if Gino moves, if Pete Carroll resigns, I think that's the only respectable thing for him to do. If we just suck and if it's not working out, then I'm glad Max stayed, because the next head coach now has a solid edge rusher and hopefully we have some good draft capital to play with. But, man, if Pete continues on, man, I'm just like, why? You're just wasting Max's years. If Pete can't turn this thing around, and even if Pete's last, let's say year 3, Pete gets us to 7 wins, you just wasted 3 more years of Max's career. And will he even want to come back? Because I think we'll still have Max, but that's the hard part about Max. It's tough, man. It is tough without question. Radiation 510, Lock and Tossie, and some of these practice squad players should be given a chance to compete. You really can't deny it. You can't deny it. Lecky, what's going on, man? What's happening, man? Good seeing you. Appreciate you rocking. Here's the thing. Had some players that we thought were going to move on from. Didn't happen. Good. I'm glad. Here's the last question I'm going to hit you guys with. Then I'm going to get out of here. What does it mean for the rest of the season? Jakobi's gone. Jakobi's gone. Is this season a wrap at this point? We're 2-6. You know what I'm saying? Like, we put up some points last game, which is good. But we're still 2-6. So at this point, is it a wrap? I think it's a wrap. I don't see us all of a sudden ripping off a 4, 5, 6 game winning streak to kind of get us back into this thing. And then you move on from one of your best offensive weapons, and we went over the receiver depth chart. This is what we're working with. Unfortunately, I think that's basically just a sign. And then you got Chip Kelly coming up to the podium and saying, yeah, well, our second round draft pick is just a rotational piece that we're still trying to experiment with. Jonte Thornton we're still experimenting with. That's a message to the locker room, in my opinion, that we're playing for next year. And I think, and I said this when I went live with Rundown and Jay, shots to those guys a few weeks ago. I said, what's really tough is that you got a GM that made all the moves in the world that said rebuild. But you have a head coach, which the head coach is supposed to give you faith, right? But Pete Carroll gave us faith in a way that is just, he came out and said, I expect 10 wins. I expect a lot of wins. Okay. You could have said it in a very different way. You could have said, I expect to be competitive in every single game, but we are young. We are developing. We have a lot of players that we need to make sure that fit into our system. We have new coaches. Like, there was ways to kind of explain it without saying full rebuild and full tank, right? But Pete Carroll came out and sold us a false bill of goods without question. And so I think we are basically looking at just two different worlds, and Spytek is a full rebuild, and Pete Carroll tried to sell us a bunch of wins, which obviously is not panning out. So in my opinion, chat, let me know, do you think we are in full rebuild mode at this point? And do you think this season is basically a wrap at this point? And we're kind of looking forward to the draft, to be dead honest. Let me know in the chat. I'm gonna try to bring it up. LS, man, I'm telling you right now, 8-5 is more likely to show up on a live wearing a white T-shirt than P is to resign. Oh, that's very true, LS. That is very true. Good luck finding me in a goddamn white T-shirt. God damn it. Kevin Larker, what part of Pete's plan this year has worked? None. Nothing has worked so far. Unless realistically, it was full tank anyways. Because look, again, as a head coach, you got to show promise. You're not going to go in the locker room and say, all right, guys, we're going to win 2 games this year. Hang it up. No. These are professionals, right? But you could have just said it in a different way. You could have sent that message in a much different way than not give us a bunch of false hope. Raidernation 510, the only way I'd be willing to move on from Max is if Milton was in the trade package. I know there's a lot of Milton fans out there. I'm not a big Milton fan. At all, never was. I think he's a highlight hero like Anthony Richardson was. You show one time in a combine or in a pro day, you can throw the ball 100 million yards and everybody goes crazy. I'm not a big Milton fan, especially coming out of that Tennessee system. I'm not a big Milton fan at all for a lot of reasons, but I'm just going to leave it there. Man, I would trade Max merely to get him a ring. That dude deserves a ring. Yeah, it's tough. Lucky, and let the rookies develop and see what we got in them. I think that's kind of where we're at. Dixon Satter, it's a wrap. Can't deny it. Cannot argue that. Man, we have to win out and make the playoffs in this division. And unfortunately, nothing says win out at this point, especially now you move on from JAKOBI. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing says win out, and that's the tough part. That is the tough part. 9-8 may not even do it. Nope, may not at all. Red Pete Carlson kicked his way into a FanDuel DraftKings bonus. I know, shaving points in 3 games. I know that missed extra point. That came to bite us in the ass without question. Kevin Larker, I have my draft position watch list already going. I know. That's where we're at. Facts, but telling us we expect 10 wins, 10 plus wins. I know, it looks like we were just living two different expectations. Spytek showing us one thing with nothing but bargain shopping, and Pete just telling us another, man. It was wild. Take some tone with Carlson. Bueno, I don't think we're in a full rebuild because we would have been sellers like the Jets. It may not look like a full rebuild would be you get rid of Max, right? But it may not be full, but we're in a rebuild. And it remains to be seen, do you want to be in a full rebuild with Pete Carroll knowing that God is even going to be with us? Like that's why our situation is so shit, to be honest. It just sucks. For Chris, you like Rick Woolen? I know a lot of people liked him. Raider Pete, 6 losses after 8 weeks. Yes, we're playing draft. I know. LS, it's been a full rebuild since Gruden left. The Raiders just haven't realized it yet. I know we haven't fully committed to a rebuild. It's tough. It is tough. Here we go. Raiders. Man, just checked on the year before the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and it was eerily similar. Not saying anything, but worth a thought. Yeah. Yeah, you can make the comparisons. And we'll see how it works out. Right? You never know. They can completely surprise us and nail the draft and nail the offseason. We're going to have a ton of salary cap, and they could just shock us all. Right? And so we'll just see how it kind of plays out. But we all know it's just not looking too hot as it stands right now. What up, Judo Joe? What's going on? What's going on, man? We could have been 10 wins with better coaching. Possibly. And you can throw in just the shuffling of the offensive line. It's not just the coaching we see on the field. You know what I'm saying? It's the moves that we made in the offseason, stuff like that. You know, I mean, that's where it's tough. So, in my opinion, guys, I don't see us, based on what we've seen so far, that I don't see us stringing together 4 or 5 4 or 5 game win streaks. I just don't see it. It's going to be so hard, and we're getting into a really tough part of our schedule. I mean, yes, we just played the Chiefs, but we still got some tough games. The Broncos are going to be tough. The Chargers are going to be tough. Houston, even though their offense isn't looking good, their defense is going to be extremely tough. There's going to be a lot of games. And look, the Cowboys don't look great, but there's no way in hell we can potentially win a shootout with the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? And so, and go look at that Cowboys game. I break down the schedule every single year. We're a short week against the Broncos, which is going to be tough. Then you got the Cowboys. Cowboys are on a bye, I believe, before that Monday night game. And so they get a massive rest before coming to us. And so even though we play on Thursday night and then it's Monday and it looks like we got a good amount of rest, I think the Cowboys have a bye that week before. So the Raiders, or the NFL, like they screwed us in that Commanders game, NFL screwed us again with that Cowboys game, which is tough. Ready, Pete? What do you want? What do you want Pete to say? Not what Gruden said at his rehire. I can't make any promise. Blah blah blah. Smoke up our rear. Blah blah blah. You know, all I'm saying is Pete can work his words very differently. Just to not get our hopes up a little bit. Because it's tough with Pete Carroll, man. He's got history of turning things around, but so much crap has gone on this offseason during the season that it's hard to even have confidence at this point. And with his sons being involved, you just never know what's going on. John Rodriguez, man, I appreciate you throwing a super chat out there, man. He said, bro, I'm 52. You're not going to waste my time with this team as long as Pete Carroll is the coach, because it's going to be the same BS next season. Can't argue with that based on what we're seeing so far. Can't argue with it, man. It is tough, man. I appreciate you throwing a super chat out there, brother. I appreciate you, Hank. We're not doing a rebuild like the Jets because we don't have the talent like them to trade away besides Crosby, Bowers, and Genty. It's too early to do that. I mean, Crosby could have. You could have. Crosby has a damn good contract to get rid of. So, yeah, it's not a full, but we'll just see how it kind of works out, to be dead honest. Man, 10 wins with better players, sure, but we just don't have that. We don't, and the coaching is very suspect as well. And check in tomorrow. We're breaking out some game film. I also think the defense is struggling at times because of our defensive schemes. Again, is it Patrick Graham or is this cover 3 with Pete Carroll? Remains to be seen. I'm going to break it down with the game film tomorrow. So LS, man, we'll win 1 to 2 games. We shouldn't and completely fuck ourselves in draft. Fans will be happy. And then the reality will sink in that it's going to be us and a cubic in the draft. Wash, rinse, repeat. Probably, man. It's gonna be tough times. But look, at the end of the day, I got a hashtag real quick. Firing head coach Friggerly. I think he hasn't really worked out for us over the 20 years. I think that's what you're saying. I know, I get it. And this is why we're in a such shitty situation, because this isn't a normal situation. This isn't a head coach that's going to be with us for the next 15 years. So you want to invest those early years to figure out is the plan right. Pete Carroll could have 2 years. This is why I think the Pete Carroll hiring was so risky, because you better have a backup, or not a backup plan. You better have a future plan to Pete Carroll, and that future plan better be on that coaching staff right now. And I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying that it has to be. No, Raider P, I see you. You're being sarcastic. I feel you. But like, that's why we're in such a shit situation. We really are. But leave it to our Raiders to put us in that situation. So, look, guys, hey, I appreciate it. I've been on it for 2 hours. I want to jump on here. Trade deadline gone. JAKOBI is out. I wish him all the best. I hope that he finds success, as long as it's not against us. But I hope he finds success. I think he was a true professional through the entire thing. Shout out to him. But we didn't move on from anybody else. We didn't bring anybody else in. Maybe we could have brought in some O-line help, but at this point, I don't want to give up any draft capital at all. We definitely got some draft capital to work with next year. We'll kind of see how it plays out. We went over the Chip Kelly presser. We kind of had a good laugh at that, and definitely gave him some shit for that as well. But also went through the depth chart now that JAKOBI's out, and just how much I think this receiver room is going to struggle moving forward, and we'll see just kind of how it works out. And so I appreciate you guys. I'll get the last couple in. Hank, this is why Vrabel and Ben Johnson didn't want to come here, and they want a young quarterback to build on. I mean, I agree. I think Ben Johnson never had the intention of coming here. Just gave us a sympathy interview because it was Tom Brady. Now, man, PG would never run cover 3 like that prior to last Sunday. Sunday shows me that Pete told PG to roll hot, miss tackles, lost at the Jags game through. Here's the thing. I haven't seen, and you know how I break down game film. I watch it. I comb through it as much as I possibly can, and I've never seen PG run this much cover 3. And I'll give you a little sneak peek of what I'm going to say tomorrow. But the cover 3 is still ran in today's game, without question, but it's more situational. But we're running cover 3 a lot on first down, which you can't do that. It's too predictable. It's way too predictable. And there's too many areas in a cover 3 that you can expose from the line of scrimmage to 15, 20 yards downfield. Cover 3 is more of a deep, a 3rd and 15 situation, right? A 3rd and 12 situation, something where you know that offense has to get at least 10 plus yards because of the holes that it can be exposed in a cover 3 defense. But we're running it on 1st and 10. But I'll show an example tomorrow, man. So I'm with you. It's tough. Raider Pete, man, I appreciate you. LS, yes, I appreciate you. Hey, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm not going to take more of your time. I know other people are going live now, man. Let's chat. No, if you're going live, I'll definitely jump into that chat. I got to do some grocery shopping right now. I'm definitely going to jump into the chat. If you go live, and I'll hit up the rest of the guys. I definitely try to jump into everybody's chat as much as I can, show some support. But look, I appreciate all my subscribers. I appreciate all the memberships. Man, I do this because of you guys. If you guys do want to get included in my next giveaway, it's a 5,500 subscribers. I'm just over about 150 away from there. So if you want to be included, hit that sub button. But I appreciate everybody that's rocked out with me. Again, I don't go live often. I'm going to try to go at least live once a week just to try to jump on here and just kind of get your guys' feedback and just kind of give you my feedback as well on the situations. But remember, I go live after every game. I might go live after Thursday's game. It's not the typical in the Raider War Room. I know Severe goes live with Farrell, so he might rock out with that. I might hit up Chris, see what he's doing. But I go live after every game in the Raider War Room. I go live every Wednesdays. We break down the game film. And so tap in with that. Even though we're losing, even though the season doesn't have much promise, at the end of the day, you got to break down that game film to know who do we want to prioritize in free agency and in the offseason, and who do we want to bring back. And that's what we got to definitely focus on, because we definitely saw some players last year, even though season didn't pan out the way we wanted it. There's definitely players that we want to bring back, and some of those names definitely popped up. So I appreciate you guys. Hey, do me a favor, double tap that screen before you get out of here. I appreciate you. Raiderman 81, I see you in here, man. I appreciate you. I'm getting out of here. Definitely tap in with the next one. But once again, appreciate the subscribers. I appreciate all the super chats. I appreciate all the members. Man, I appreciate you gifting out some memberships, man. I can't thank you guys. I can't thank you guys more, because I don't coach this game anymore, and it's because of you guys. I'm kind of getting that itch out, and I don't have to go back to coaching, and I can still keep my wife happy with sticking around. So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your evening. Definitely jump into the other content creators. Jump into Nabmans. Jump into Jeff for Raiders, Leo, Rundown, Jay, all those guys, Severe and Farrell, when they go live, hit up those guys. Show some love. Show some support. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the Thursday night game, but tap in tomorrow when we break down game film. So enjoy the evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the Raider War Room. Have a good one. I'm out of here.